Would it be better to come afterwards or before? Weather-wise, what is the weather like during the time that we are in Australia?
The 1st of June is the first day of winter in New Zealand. So you're going from autumn to winter over May, June. June is generally a reasonably dry month. It's not the wettest months of our winter, but it isn't very warm by my standards.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably best to visit before.
Possibly. I don't think there would be very much difference, quite honestly.
Okay.
How cold is your winter?
Depends whether you're in the north or the south. The North Island, we have Celsius, your temperatures are, what would you say, Ian, 12, 15 degrees?
Yes, I would say in the daytime, the lowest it's going to get to is 12 to 15 degrees Celsius. And the snow is only really in the mountains. Occasionally it comes down to the hills near the cities, but not very much at all. And so we'll get frost but where I live, only half a dozen times in the whole winter we get frost, and certainly no snow, but that's in the middle of Hawke's Bay on the North Island. In the South Island you get a bit more snow because there's more mountains and a little bit colder. It can get down to 0 and takes a long time to warm up.
I definitely wanted to go there this time because I don't think I will make it back.
Yeah,
I just
And
have
it
to
is-
decide how.
It is only 2 hours from Melbourne. So if
We're
you're
also-
wanting 2 hours or 3, Ian, 2, isn't it?
oh, it would be it's 2 or 3 hours. I mean, it's only
It's three and a half hours.
But
Is
if
it
you
3 and a
spend,
half?
Yeah,
if you spent 16 hours coming from Tennessee, then it's best to do the other things while you're here, Ingrid.
That's what I'm thinking. So is
Yeah.
it, do you go fly into Auckland, or what would be the best place to fly into?
Auckland, Wellington or Christchurch?
It
All
depends
these-
what you're going to look at. If you wanted to go to the capital city, you'd fly into Wellington. If you want to go to Rotorua in the middle of the North Island, you could be Wellington or Auckland. If you want to go to Queenstown on the South Island, you could fly direct into Queenstown or to Christchurch. So it depends what you want to do. If you're thinking of some ideas, when you look up things, come back to me or Sheena, and we can tell you what to make it a bit more specific.
How is Christchurch doing now? I happened to be on the South Island when the earthquake happened, but we were on the west side.
I bet you left quick, John, didn't you?
We didn't. We were supposed to go to Christchurch 2 days later. We went to Wellington instead.
Yeah.
But
No,
how is
Christchurch-
Christchurch doing is the question.
Christchurch is
Yeah, right.
pretty much rebuilt. I've been back there. I worked there for some years during my police career, but it was just astonishing to me when I went back there after the earthquake. I was going to some event, and I walked around the city. I was just in tears. But now that's 10, 11 years ago, and it's pretty much rebuilt. The most nostalgic thing, and it featured in one or two of the photos that Sheena showed, was the cathedral, a very old stone cathedral, was very, very seriously damaged, and they've argued it will cost millions to restore, and that has yet to be rebuilt, but they've only just started on it now after assessing all the claims and arguments. And but no, the city is pretty good. Its biggest note of fame or infamy was the March the 15th, 2019, there was a shooting at a mosque and over 50 people were killed. I mean, that just as an interesting statistic, there was as many people killed in one day, murdered in one day at that mosque shooting as the whole of New Zealand every year. We only have about 1 murder a week. We had 50 in a day. So I say that just to indicate the country is pretty safe.
Well, one of the nice things about New Zealand is that, I guess you could have a murder, but nothing kills you in New Zealand. You go to Australia, everything kills you.
No poisonous creatures in New Zealand.
Oh, it's great that way. You can hike without fear.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I've lived in Australia for 30 years now, and I think I've seen one snake, and that was dead beside an old tennis court. So it's not as if you see these, nasty creatures all over the place. You really have to go looking for them, even in Australia.
Unless you're out hiking. We saw 6 on the Ocean Road when we hiked it. So it depends where you are.
Well, even the plants will kill you in Australia, so you have to be careful.
So,
But it's
any
good. It's also beautiful.
more questions? If we
Oh.
don't have any more questions, we will be going now into the break room. There will be maybe 4 or 5 of us. If you do not like the break room that you are in, you can always move back to the main room, and Madhu can try to figure out how to send you back to another break room.
Bob has a question.
Bob has a question. Okay, Bob.
Well, we've already talked about the earthquake in Christchurch area. 5 years ago, I and my wife went there, and we saw some of the recovery being put up, and the store area, the shopping areas. It seemed like they had railroad cars that they were stacking one on top of the other and made shopping. And then another question I have is in the entertainment area. I like Western music. And I learned to listen to the French Family, which has a lady from who's a newie, and then a man from Australia that travel together. And they now come to the United States and they sing in Nashville. Does anybody here know who I'm talking about? Oh, too bad. How could you miss that? Oh, it's some of the greatest. And it's a family. The family, they got their kids singing. They're just a lovely group. Okay, I'm done.
Who is it? Who is it?
It's called the last name of the family is French, so it's the French family, Mr. and Mrs. French.
I will look it up. Because
Yeah.
Nashville is just 3 hours away from me.
You can easily catch it on YouTube and call it the French Family, and that'll go right to the singing. And
Okay.